Oh my goodness. I've never had one of these before. There's something about going last that certainly has built up my adrenaline, but also I'm filled. It is amazing. It is amazing what our community brings and what a bounty we've heard tonight. And there's all this information for us now. And there are all these challenges for us now, questions and inspiration, and what do we do with it? And sometimes, at least for myself, it's like, oh my goodness, what is my next step? How am I part of a beehive or a community that spreads beyond Marquette to the whole UP, and what do I do? And sometimes it's like the March winds are blowing through us and we don't know our next step. But we're not the March winds, and we're not that little leaf blowing in the wind. We have feet. And we have them right now, not just in a yoga class or a meditation class. We've got our feet and we've got our roots, and we stand on our own 2 feet. And although we're part of a wonderful community and maybe a hive of bees, we also have these 2 feet that we stand on. And when we stand on our own 2 feet, when we really stand on our own 2 feet and feel that power moving through us, our creativity moving through us, maybe we're not destined to make a giant dog. Maybe that's not our thing, but there's something that's our thing. And when we feel it, we feel that life force flowing through us, and it is powerful. It is really, really powerful. It is a spark that lights us up. And so this is my one prop. I'm going to introduce you to my spark. And this is my spark back at age 4, not on a multiple choice type of day. This was a good summer day. And this was a day back in coastal Maine when I probably went for a wonderful boat ride in the big red boat, and we probably took a picnic to Spring Beach, and we probably had this wonderful food, and then we went swimming, of course, and we licked the salt off our bodies, and we were going, yes, we are on our own 2 feet. We're grounded. And this is probably at night, because I'm wearing my dirty sweatshirt, my sister's sweatshirt. And we probably had mackerel from the cove, or we probably had lobster for dinner, and we had something really good to eat. Something when you're grounded and you're living from the inside out, that kind of honest food that we talked about tonight. And this is afterwards. And maybe in this moment, I'm a live wire, and maybe I might be even a little too much for my mother, but in that moment, I'm feeling really good. I know it. I look at that picture and I say, I'm feeling really good. And I know now she's got my back right now. She's got my back. And I know she's in me right now. And so your spark doesn't look like this. And she's probably not missing a tooth at age 4 because she ran up the stairs and was so full of life she fell and she knocked out her front tooth. But you have a spark in you. You have a spark too. And each of our sparks is unique. And so each of us, when we go within, and so part of a community, yes, but living not from the outside in on we should do this, or we should do this, or we should do this, but living from the inside out, from what feels true and right to us when we really take the time to breathe and feel our bones and feel the heartbeat of our body flowing through us. When we listen to that, we know what we're supposed to do. We know what our next step is. We know what creativity is flowing through us, or what community action is right for us, or what food we are supposed to eat. We know those things. And when we live from that inside-out place, not only do we know those things, but it becomes easy. It doesn't have to be hard. And that's the great trick. When we're living from the inside out, when we're really plugged in, part of a community, yes, but moving from that inside place, We know that it can be easy, that we can, the right person will come to us, the right piece of junk. It's the perfect piece of junk for the nose. We know that. And that's awesome. And we also know when we're living from the inside out that it can be fun. And that is the ticket, that it can be fun. And so I know in that moment she's having fun. And so I wanted to share a story that happened about 4 years ago when I was really, really having fun. And I was in my kitchen, and when I have time to cook, it's really fun to cook. And it's really fun when I take the time to go to the farmer's market, and I take the time to go to the co-op, and I get the perfect foods, and I'm chopping the food, and I've got that time. And so I was doing that. I was in my kitchen, and I was preparing food. I was chopping carrots. And my adult son was there. And my adult son was home for a little vacation, and that made it even more fun. There I am, plugged in, living from the inside out, feeling my energy, and I'm chopping carrots, and I'm chatting. Because when I'm living from the inside out, sometimes I'm wiggly, and sometimes I'm chatty. And I was chatting. And so I was chatting to this adult son of mine who was sitting at the table. And I was chopping the carrots, and I was chatting. And then I noticed that my adult son all of a sudden was going like this. And he was sort of shaking his head. And so I paused for a minute in chopping the carrots, and I paused in a minute in my chatting. And then he bravely looked up, and he said to me, not in that arrogant, adolescent, holier-than-thou way where you can't do anything right when you're a parent, not in that kind of way. He said this in a really, really grown-up type of way. He just said, Mom, sometimes you're too much for me. And in that moment, I plugged in with her having my back. I didn't go to that place I'd gone to maybe 5 years earlier where I was working so hard not to wear the stupid clothes and not to say anything, because anything I said definitely was the wrong thing to say, and definitely in those moments wasn't plugged in to who I really was. But in this moment, from this really, really plugged in place, I looked up and I opened my mouth, and what came out of me, tone-deaf Helen, what came out of me sounded like a bird easily singing a song. I just said to my adult son, I'm not too much for me. And the words just floated across to the kitchen table where he was sitting, and he looked up, and a little smile came over his face. And so, sometimes, when we're living from the inside out, and we're really living that live wire that we really are, that spark that we really are, our creativity is amazing. Our creativity is so amazing. And we can do amazing things with it. And sometimes it's going to be too much for people. And sometimes our ideas are going to be oddball and weird. And sometimes the inventions we're making or the businesses we're starting, other people aren't going to agree. And maybe our spouses or our kids, sometimes they're going to say, you're just too much for me. But you know what? When we're living from the inside out, when we're really living from that place, yes, part of a community, but tapped into that creative power of the universe, so empowered. When we're living from that place, then we don't really care. And we say, I'm not too much for me. And when we're living from that place and we're saying, I'm not too much for me, we know what to do. We know when we leave here the next step we're going to take. We know when we leave here what's going to feel good to us. And we're going to meet with the right people, and it's going to be easy. And it's going to be really, really fun. So